I'm going to give you a focused framework on how to build a community around your streetwear brand that shows up in numbers on drop day. This framework is the same one that's been used by brands like Supreme, Cortez, Patagonia, and many others to build their communities as strong as they have. You're listening to the Street Cred podcast, the show laser focused on helping brand owners turn their streetwear audience into a community. I'm Elijah Delport. As you may have known from the last episode, from yesterday's episode of the podcast, I'm taking things in a bit of a new direction. And for the next 5 episodes, including this one, I'm going to be laying out the foundations of exactly how I believe you can build a community high and well and strong in this day and age. And this is going to be specifically focused on doing it for your fashion brand, for your clothing brand, for your streetwear brand. But who is this for more specifically than this? This is for a fashion brand owner who runs an e-commerce store. You don't have a brick and mortar store. You don't have a physical shop front. You are simply running e-commerce, and it means that nearly 100%, if not 100%, of your customers are coming from Instagram or some other social media platform. Right? This is for you. If you resonate with what I'm saying, this is for you. This is also for someone who actually desires to build a community, who doesn't just want to sell a clothing product and make a buck, but you actually want to build a community and you recognize the benefits of the community. Before we get into how you specifically build a community, or the part 1 of this, the part 1 of 5 that's to come, I want to talk about the benefits of building community. I've spoken about this briefly on other episodes. Now I've got a whole framework, and I call it FAN, the FAN framework. And so a customer in community becomes a fan. What does that mean? FAN is FAN, right? F is for faithful. So a customer in community becomes faithful. That means that they turn down other options, even if they're logically better. If your brand, let's just say your brand name is just called, let's come up with a name, April Apparel, right? Your brand name is April Apparel. If you have a customer that's faithful to your brand, they will choose you over all the other clothing brands out there, even if you don't create the best stuff. Even if you don't create better stuff, they'll still be loyal to you. It's like football teams or any sport. There will always be people that go for the losing teams. Why? Because they are faithful. They believe in something greater. It's not just about winning. It's about standing for something greater than yourself. And they will stand by loyal to that team even when they lose. So a customer and community becomes a fan. First, F is for faithful. Next, FAAN. A is for advocate. A customer in community becomes an advocate for your brand. And that means you can leverage the power of word of mouth marketing with community. Why? Because a customer in community is someone that advocates. They become a walking billboard. They tell their friends, their family, they repost, they share it to the story. They believe in what you're doing. They notice the message that you're preaching, the message that you share with the world, and they resonate with it. And so they're not only faithful to your brand, they're also an advocate for it and publicly. Right? They wear your brand proudly on their chest. Probably and another thing about advocation is that they're probably, and this crosses over into being faithful to your brand, is they probably wouldn't even dare wear your competitors at the same time as wearing your brand name. It's like wearing Nike and Adidas at the same time. You're either one or the other. You're faithful to one and you advocate for one, but you cannot do it for the other one, at least not at the same time. Right? So a customer and community is a fan. They're faithful, they're an advocate, and finally, they're nurtured. And what this means is that they're loyal customers. They're repeat buyers. They're nurtured. They come back again and again and again and again. And it comes back to this idea in the last 10 years, paid advertising with meta ads has been the game, right? Here's the thing. Going forward, and it already is the case, that ads might get you some sales, but growing a community will get you customers. What's the difference? I'd spoken about it in a previous episode. Go for customers, not sales. It's that sales is just one time. They come and go, they fluctuate. Customers, they stick around, and lots of sales come from them. And that is the beauty of nurturing a customer base into becoming a community, and the fact that a customer that's in community becomes a fan, N is for nurtured, they buy, they repeat buys, they buy and buy and buy again. So that is why building a community is important, because, well, essentially, if you can do it well, you have more customers that stay for longer and buy more times. That's it. That is the best business case for any other strategy that there's ever been. And that is why you should care about building a community. If you want to make more money, you want to have more customers and that stay for longer, and you feel more fulfilled in the process, why wouldn't you? It's a win-win-win between you, the customer, the brand, everyone. So it's beautiful. So how do communities actually work? Well, the greatest examples of community in society always have this common factor. And it is that there is a central idea in which all the people within the community are unified by. Think about one of the largest communities we have in society is Christian community. It's that everybody who calls himself a Christian is unified by the idea and the message of Jesus Christ. Right? This is not about whether you consider yourself religious or not. Simply understand the concept of community using the example of Christianity. Everyone's unified. You can say the same thing about Islam. Everyone is unified by this central belief in Allah. Right? It's an ideology, it's an ethos, it's a culture, it's a lifestyle. Right? Let's use a non-religious example. Your family, right? Family culture. Every family is a little community in their own right, and they're all unified by their own family culture. That's the common string between all the people. It doesn't matter, they're young, they're old, they're different ages, they're different genders. But what's common to all of them is this family culture that they share, that no matter what, they'll love each other. Right? Let's now use an example in the fashion industry. Let's look to a brand like Patagonia. They're all about sustainability, the environment. In fact, I think it was 2020 when the CEO of the brand gave away the company to a charity to become a not-for-profit. Right? I think they're a not-for-profit now. That's incredible. That means that this idea of sustainability was so integral to the guy that he would be so compelled to do that. Here's the truth. That concept of sustainability and the care for the environment is so integral to everyone that wears the brand as well, or at least the inner circle, their strongest members of the community. Every example of community, we have members that are all unified by a central idea. And here's the truth that I'm trying to get at. You cannot create a community around a product. I don't care how good your t-shirt is, your hoodie is, you cannot cultivate a community around it. Even clothing brands don't cultivate communities around products because they cultivate communities around an idea, a big idea that people care about. And so this brings me to the point. If you really care about cultivating a community, if you want to experience the benefits of fans, of super fans, right? They're faithful, they're advocates, and they're nurtured, they're repeat customers. If you want to experience those effects, then you need to have a central idea, and there is no other way about it. You need to find a niche ideology, culture, or lifestyle that your brand is going to represent. In fact, that's what makes your clothing brand a brand. Otherwise, it's just a clothing business. If you're just about selling products, you may as well just call yourself an e-commerce store. But maybe if that word, even the fact that you're an e-commerce store, if that gives you a little bit of an ick right now because you want to be something more than that, well, then I challenge you, please find and clarify a very hyper-focused niche, a very specific culture, ideology, or lifestyle. And so a good way to think about this is by thinking, who's the person that best embodies my brand? Right? Think of that person. You might say that person is Michael Jordan, right? You might say Michael Jordan. If my brand was a person, it would be Michael Jordan. He's the epitome of everything I feel my brand represents. The next question you ask is, what about Michael Jordan is relevant to your brand and your branding and your brand message? Well, I'll say Michael Jordan's devoted, right? I'm thinking about beliefs, values, interests, the lifestyle that he might have, right? I'm saying he's devoted. He's a basketball player. That's definitely a part of my brand. He's committed. He wakes up early. He trains. He he values teamwork and collaboration with others, right? So this is all the aspects of Michael Jordan that now becomes my brand. So now what is my brand about? Well, my brand is about commitment. It's got aspects of basketball in there. It's all about teamwork, hard work, right? Standing for something that's greater than oneself, collaboration. This becomes my brand. And this is the ideology that everyone who will call themselves members of this community, these are the aspects that they will resonate with, right? And all I've done for you is described Nike. That's what the Nike brand is, right? Their person is Michael Jordan, and that is their brand that embodies the same traits as he does. And I like to say this, I think this will be helpful to you. Become a community that just happens to sell clothing. Become a community that just happens to sell clothing, right? So you're not a clothing brand first, that comes second. If you want to really experience the benefits of superfan customers, then you need to put that second and put first the fact that you're a community, that you stand for something bigger than yourself and you define your big idea. That's all for this part. That I can go into a lot more depth. In fact, I plan on doing exactly that. I want to let you know that I'm releasing a video series, a 5-part video series on my YouTube channel, all about how to turn your audience into a community. It's for streetwear brands just like you. And it's going to be releasing on September 2nd, 2024. Whenever you're listening to this, September 2nd, 2024, maybe it's already out, but probably it's not yet. So look, it's going to be much more in depth than these podcasts are. These are just 10-minute snippets. Next episode, I'm going to be talking about how do you find your founding members of the community? How do you find the first people that are going to really get your community in a place where it actually becomes a community, where it's not just you. And look, this is for anyone, whether you're a startup, right? Of course it's for you, but it's also for those who are already established. If you already have an audience, you may not have members yet, right? You might have followers, but not members. And so finding your founding members is really what differentiates an audience from a community. Is the fact that you don't just have followers, you have members. So it's going to be all about how to find your founding members, and I'm really excited to present it to you. If you would like to join my community, I really invite you to do so. We've got 40 motivated streetwear brand owners on my community called Streetwear 365. You can join it for free using the link in the description below. And there is a free streetwear marketing course that I put in there for you, as well as the network of all these great people that you can chat with. So look, please join us in the community, and I'm really excited to see you on the other side. Thanks for listening to this episode. I'm Elijah Delport, and I will see you for the next one.